And that's what the Radok is attempting to do. Give us carbon fiber scales, S35VN steel, a pivot lock, crossbar lock system on ball bearings, and giving it to us in a large eye-catching profile produced right here in America. And now, after having given it a bunch of pocket time and used it in a bunch of utility tasks, I've discovered that it is definitely a two-sided coin, with some aspects being excellently executed, but other design characteristics that just don't quite make sense to me. And so we're gonna flip a coin. I have my San Antonio Mission quarter, and let's find out what we're gonna do here. Let's say heads are all the positives that we'll kick off with. And if it lands tails, we're gonna start with the negative. Heads. So we will start with the things that I like about the Radok. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Aaron, this is Gideon's Tactical, and I invite you to hit that like button and consider subscribing, and make sure to hit that bell icon if you enjoy content like this, where week in, week out, I test out and review gear to help us better stay equipped and prepared for whatever life's adventures may throw at us. And a little bit later, I'll be hitting value and competitive options, but throughout the entire video, there will be links in the description box below, not only to the gear that you're gonna see in this video, but also all the other affiliate networks that I regularly partner with. So if there's a blade or a gear item that makes sense for you, I always appreciate it when you use those hyperlinks. All right, let's jump right in. First positive is just that styling, that Wharncliffe blade shape, and it's wide and broad. I really like. It just kind of stands out. I haven't seen a lot like that lately in the pocket knife arena. You know, you have that almost completely straight. There's a very minute curve, but basically a straight blade on that flat grind. 3.75 inches overall blade length, so it's on the larger side of pocket knives. And you have a flat grind that goes up about halfway. So you have that half grind, if you will, meaning that you're gonna get strength in a very slicey blade at just under 1/8 of an inch thick, but it holds that almost all the way down that tip. So the tip is going to pierce, but it holds that strength. You know, it doesn't taper really quickly. So still really slicey, great edge geometry is what I saw on this. So just a fun blade shape that has a lot of utility capability, but can still pierce really, really well. And it's going to give you that, you know, on the larger end, so you have a lot more reach than more compact folders. And then anytime a company is bringing manufacturing and production back to the USA and using US products and manufacturing labor is always excellent. So S35VN steel CPM, S35VN. So excellent steel, you know, in that family of S30V, it's just like a little bit more, in many ways, souped up because it's a little bit tougher and easier to resharpen than S30V steel. But by no means is it really in the premium arena. We're going to talk about that in competitive options here momentarily. It's definitely on the higher end, and I love that steel, but it's becoming very common now in the kind of mid-grade and mid-range blades. So very good choice. We'll see in competitive options and value here momentarily whether that, you know, holds out, but excellent blade steel to go with. We'll follow that up with that pivot lock action, you know, now that long ago at this point the patent has expired from Benchmade with their axis lock and being able to do that now. So many brands. This one is super smooth on those ball bearings for that large blade. You can just see there, bam, bam, over and over again. Don't even have to touch the blade if you don't want to. Excellent deployment on the thumb studs as well. The crossbar or pivot lock, as they call it, good size. Stop bar is a good size. The caged, I think it's caged ball bearings, from what I can see in there. I mean, it just like floats in that way, and then open it up. Good lockup. We got a little bit of rock side to side, solid up and down. So an excellent locking mechanism choice, and that will flow right into just the overall size and the handle. You can see how large it is. If you like bigger pocket knives and you just like full handled blades, this is it. I mean, they did a really good job with that. That marbled carbon fiber scales, they're slick, you know, as like a Nalgene bottle, but they sure look cool. And they even contoured them, so that's really nice as well. So they're not just flat. And with the squared off jimping and the deep guard kind of cut in there for your finger, I mean, you're really locked into place, and you just have a really full grip. If you had gloves on, big leather gloves, would work really well with that. And I just, that part to me was just really good. Even though it's not super heavy at 5 inches closed, this is going to be 4.2 ounces. 4.2 ounces for this size of knife is really well done. You know, sub 5 ounces, pleased with that. Now come in some of those design characteristics that have left me kind of scratching my head. The first are these stainless steel liners, so there's excellent strength behind those carbon fiber scales that are really nice and flush. There's no like lip or anything. They are not milled. That is just a slab of stainless steel in there, which means it's very strong, but for this value price that we're about to look at, and just, you know, the carbon fiber, they could have brought it sub 4 ounces if they had just taken the time to mill out the liners. It just shows like kind of like throw it on there, bam. That I wish there had just been a little bit more attention to detail. Could have been even lighter in the hand, and just shows that manufacturing detail. The exposed lanyard hole is that stainless steel, and it's not milled. So I mean, it's sharp kind of back here. My hand, because of how large the knife is, never came in contact with it. But if you do like a reverse grip and you're using your thumb, you know, in a stabbing motion, that's right there. So the pressure is right on that sharp exposed steel. So I didn't really like that. And again, just kind of feels like the attention to detail wasn't really given in those areas. Even if they had just milled that a little bit and, you know, rounded it off, that would have been okay to have that exposed there. So that's the first one. The other one that you may be seeing here is that even though it's an ambidextrous crossbar pivot lock, it's not ambidextrous. So they immediately cut out 10% of the market that may be interested in the blade. There's no real reason for that. I wish that they had done that. And it flows into this pocket clip. One, it's massive. It's like a monster, 3 screws in there. I mean, it kind of flows with the style, I guess, but it's just so big. You know, satin, so everyone in, you know, their mom is going to see it from like a mile away coming down the street. Can you see this here? The pocket clip is flexing out ever so slightly with this huge bulk right there, meaning it's so tight right there, and the angle is very abrupt. So what it ends up doing is snagging on all of my pocket lips. So I do an initial pull, and then it catches, and then you have to do this like the second tug to get it out of your pocket. Overly so in a way that I don't enjoy. If it had been, here's like a wire clip, we can see how the ramp is rounded and less, it's not as abrupt, it's more gradual. So it stays tense and tight in your pocket, but then when you want it out, it comes out. This is like you got to fight it to get over that very abrupt angle, and because of how tight the tension is, I mean, you're never going to lose it, so that's a positive, but it's overly tight and kind of obnoxious to get out. And in combination with that, the pivot lock standoffs, the honeycomb, very good. They are really tall. As we can see here, here's the Benchmade Griptilian. You can see it's just a hair above the scales, but on the Schrade, I mean, it is like standing off. So I found it kind of bumping into my pocket as I pull it out. It hasn't deployed in my pocket, but that's just kind of like a concern that I had a little bit. I was like, I almost would like remove that top one. You know, and like have sanded that down, or just, you know, not had it quite that standoffish, because it is very, very high, even higher than the thumb studs themselves from what I can tell looking at it. So I would have liked to have that slightly lower. It's fine that they would have been pronounced, so it's easy to grab, but they're so pronounced. And then the final piece of the puzzle is value. Now the MSRP is $250. Blade HQ currently has it for $210. And I have seen it on sale on Amazon for as low as $180. But the average going rate at most distributors is going to be $210. So that's the price we're going to go with. Just food for thought here. You know, here's the S30V. So S35VN, I would argue, is a little bit better. Benchmade, not carbon fiber, but ambidextrous. Some of the things that we kind of touched on. You know, this is like $145. And this is a very well-established brand. Schrade is coming into the market, trying to rebrand themselves, relaunch themselves. That's a really steep price point, especially when there's knives like the ANV A100 in Magna Cut, ambidextrous crossbar locking mechanism, made in the Czech Republic. About that same price, about 200, maybe 210. I've seen a couple color combinations as low as 145. So crazy, a little bit smaller, you know, a little bit more compact, but got that same, you know, kind of locking mechanism. Very cool styling itself, and Magna Cut, like basically everyone wants right now. And there's the Gerber Savvy that just seems to have a better fit and finish overall. I mean, it's slimmer, but it's kind of got that same style to it. A little bit more compact, ambidextrous, and that's running on 20 CV steel. So definitely a more premium steel, if you will, than S35VN, gonna hold its edge longer. And this model with the aluminum is going to be 200, and then the carbon fiber version, I believe, is like 225. I know MSRP was 250, you know, in that way. So for some of the drawbacks that I'm seeing, some of the design characteristics, and it not being ambidextrous, it's definitely on the higher end of pricing for what you're getting compared to what else is on the market. Well guys, there you have it. I hope that this video has been fun and entertaining, giving you value, showing you what the capabilities, definitely what are the limitations of this blade. I think that Schrade is definitely going in the right direction with materials, the locking mechanism, the styling. The styling is definitely there. It's really cool and definitely stands out from the crowd. It's not just super generic. But there definitely are some things that still need to be tweaked. And I just hope that they continue down this path. You know, I always want to see brands win, but they need to earn our love and support. And so I know Schrade is attempting to do that. I look forward to hearing your guys' comments on not only this blade, if you already own it, what's been your experience, but just Schrade in general, particularly since they're kind of relaunch, redive into the blade community. I always appreciate when you guys leave those comments. I invite you to check out the other video popping up, subscribe if you haven't yet, and until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.